Experienced feng shui masters all know that when relocating a grave, the biggest taboo is letting the coffin touch the ground. It's said that a grounded coffin absorbs earth energy. A minor consequence is being plagued by evil spirits, while a severe one could mean vengeful souls taking lives. This classic scene is from a 2026 Vietnamese suspense horror film. Based on real folklore, it dominated Southeast Asian horror upon release. Created by the team behind Mekong River Water Ghost, it deeply explores forbidden Vietnamese legends, delivering pure, oppressive dread and terrifying grave scenes. Some even call it the Vietnamese exhuma. The story begins in a small Vietnamese village where everyone makes a living in the funeral business. Therefore, they don't believe in ghosts or gods. After all, only the brave dare to work in this industry. Our protagonist, Ajong, is the village mortician, responsible for dressing the dead. With her experience, she's seen it all. It's common for corpses to suddenly vomit blood during embalming, sometimes even on her face. To Ajong, it's just muscle spasms. Besides her job, Ajong's biggest hobby is gambling. She often loses more than she wins, leaving her family in heavy debt. Recently, a rich man wanted to buy their land. Ajong and her husband, A Chang, decided to sell it to pay off her debts. The next day, A Chang eagerly brought the feng shui master and the buyer to see the land. The master tried to insert his tool into the ground to check the earth veins, but it wouldn't go in. Listening closely, he heard strange noises from below. Sensing something was wrong, the master pushed aside the weeds and forced the tool in. Suddenly, weird shrieks echoed in the air. The buyer and A Chang shuddered at the sight. The master, realizing the danger, quickly took out his compass. The needle spun rapidly before locking onto a specific location. Obviously, the grave was right where the tool was inserted. A Chang quickly hired some local boys to help open the coffin. One was Fatty, another gambler in debt. The other was a Yu, the village bone setter, always eager to make some money. The group set up an altar and performed a ritual. After the sacrifice, they began the knocking wood ceremony. First to seal luck, second to suppress evil, and third to lock the soul. Following the 3 knocks, they started shoveling, soon uncovering the coffin completely. The carrying pole broke, and the coffin crashed to the ground. Everyone knew this was a terrible omen. The pole is wood, the corpse is human and thus fire. Fire touching water and earth completes the 5 elements, but metal, which represents killing, is missing. Everyone felt a strong sense of impending doom. Sure enough, when they lifted the coffin again, they wanted to rebury it, but the master refused. He insisted it couldn't be reburied now. It had to be taken to the landlord's house for an evil warding ritual before burial. They transported the coffin back to A Chang's house. However, the wheelbarrow broke on the way, and a steel rod from a wheel pierced a Yu's leg. The master was stunned. Such accidents meant this was no ordinary coffin, but a sign of great evil. Upon returning to A Chang's house, they finally opened the coffin. Inside, instead of a corpse, there was a wooden sculpture covered in densely packed talismans.
Rồi sao cái tượng này nó dán bùa tùm lum tùm la vậy?
Nghe ông bà nói á, tượng mà dán bùa kiểu này á là
Gì mà ghê?
Seeing the jewelry inside, greedy A Chang wanted it for himself, but the master stopped him. However, others were eyeing the necklace too. Fatty and A Yu's greedy gazes were almost overflowing. That night, Fatty sneaked into A Chang's house. Seeing no one around, he opened the coffin and snatched the necklace. The terrifying sight inside made him quickly close the lid. Feeling guilty, he dared not mention the bizarre occurrence. Little did he know, his actions were witnessed by A Yu, who also wanted to steal it. Fatty immediately went to the casino to sell it.
Triệu, 2,5 triệu thôi. Mày khùng hả? Trong quý vậy mình cầm 2,5 triệu. Quý thì mày đi chỗ khác mày cầm đi.
Fatty thought selling it for 2.5 million was a loss, but he agreed anyway. Just then, he noticed a shadow in the corner. Thinking it was an illusion, he looked again and saw the figure approaching. Terrified, he ran to a bridge, but was quickly controlled by the entity. His soul was thrown into the river, and he drowned. The news spread through the village the next day.
Có chuyện gì thế?
Phát hiện xác tài cô đơn nổi với chân cầu treo á. Hình như là tự tử. Phải không mày? Dạ phải. Đi lẹ.
Hearing the news, A Chang rushed to the lake. Seeing Fatty's body confirmed the tragedy. A Yu, standing nearby, seemed to be plotting something. Once everyone left, he sneaked into the room where Fatty's body lay. His goal was obvious, the necklace. He pulled back the shroud and felt for it, soon finding it in Fatty's hand. But then, suddenly, a fierce wind blew through the room. When he recovered, he saw Fatty's eyes open, gripping his hand tightly. Blood poured from Fatty's mouth, terrifying a Yu into grabbing the necklace and fleeing. The next day, a Yu planned to sell the hidden necklace. However, his suspicious behavior was noticed by his wife, a Zhao. Unaware he was exposed, he faced her scolding for being idle and just drinking. Unable to bear the abuse, he left to find alcohol. This was exactly what a Zhao wanted. As soon as he left, she searched behind the dressing table. That night, a Zhao took out the necklace to try it on.
Trời ơi, đẹp kinh đó mà. Hay là ổng mua tặng sinh nhật mình ta?
A Zhao tried to put the necklace on but failed. Behind her, a dark hand appeared. The door moved as if someone entered. When she turned, the lights flickered wildly, and the door slammed shut. This terrifying scene gave her goosebumps, sensing something unclean. Yet, her vanity overpowered her fear, and she put the necklace back on. The necklace's strange behavior made her struggle desperately. She finally broke free from the rope on the floor, which then moved on its own. Before she could react, it dropped from the ceiling, wrapping around her neck. In an instant, she was hoisted up and hanged from the beam. When a Yu returned from drinking, he found the door locked tight. A chilling wind made him vomit. Then, the door opened by itself. Gathering his senses, he was met with a soul-shattering sight, a Zhao hanged from the ceiling. After her death, a Yu called a Zhang to embalm the body, returning the necklace to her in the process. Unaware of the anomaly, a Zhang started the process that night. As usual, she used a red string to tie a Zhao's toes and positioned her hands. But then, the light bulb began to flicker constantly. The flashing made a Zhang uneasy. A second later, looking at a Zhao, she saw the corpse's arm had dropped. The thumb bent back in a weird, terrifying angle. A Zhang was horrified but didn't dare bend it back. The other hand did the same. She could only force them straight. The final step was blocking the 7 orifices to keep the soul intact. As she tried to block the nose, the corpse convulsed and vomited blood. Looking utterly hideous, finished, a Zhang hurried home, feeling watched all the way. Terrified, she ran frantically, finally making it home safely. They didn't know a shadow watched them intently after they left. The next day, a Chang, back from work, suggested taking their son to the temple fair. A Zhang dressed up, putting on beautiful lipstick. Her beauty mesmerized a Chang, who gave her a passionate kiss. After kissing, a Chang waited outside while a Zhang took the necklace from the drawer and wore it to the fair. Just as they sat down to eat, she saw a disheveled figure in the distance, startling her into spilling food on her clothes. When she looked again, the figure was gone. Dismissing it as an illusion, a Zhang went to the outhouse to clean her clothes. Coming out, she found her son missing. She thought she saw a woman taking him and chased after them. Soon, she reached a desolate wilderness. Anxious, she called out but couldn't find them. Suddenly, a figure flashed by. Turning her head, she saw the woman holding her son, jumping off the cliff. Terrified, she ran to the edge, but there was no one below. When she turned around, a rotting face appeared before her, scaring her into falling off the cliff to her death. Unaware, a Chang was still at the fair with the child, wondering why she hadn't returned. While searching, bad news arrived. The man's words sent a Chang rushing to the hospital, but the doctor informed him she had no vital signs. He was stunned, unable to believe she was gone so quickly. He hurried to the morgue, refusing to accept the truth. Lifting the shroud, he saw her pale face. Devastated, he couldn't make a sound. Unable to imagine life without her, he stayed silently by her side. Then, a nurse asked him to sign the papers to claim the body. As soon as he left, thunder roared, and a fierce wind raged in the room. Soon, a Jiang's mouth bled red like the others. The wind blew open the curtains, a bat shattered the window, flew into her mouth, and she opened her eyes, undergoing a bizarre transformation. Just like that, a Jiang miraculously came back to life. When a Chang returned to claim the body, it was missing. Chilled to the bone, he saw a shadow outside the window. He chased it, only to find the figure had returned to his own home. Increasingly panicked, Chang tiptoed inside, following the footprints. Looking around, he discovered Zhang, resurrected and standing right beside him. Her forced, lifeless smile terrified him. Despite his fear, he prepared food for his resurrected wife, but she just kept sniffing the table full of food.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
As she spoke, she collapsed. He quickly carried her to bed, wiping off the dirt. Touching her hand, he realized it was freezing cold, without a hint of warmth. Frightened, he hastily tried to warm her hands to restore some body heat. The whole village knew Zhang had died. With the body missing and no funeral held, everyone was confused. One man decided to check if Chang had buried her secretly. Meanwhile, waking up, Chang found her gone. He searched frantically, soon finding her crouched in a corner, eating something. Her savage, blood-drinking behavior terrified him, but she was his wife. Suppressing his disgust, he hid by the window to watch the person outside, waiting until they left to make a sound. Clearly, he wanted to keep her resurrection a secret, but when he turned, she was staring at him with a creepy smile, sending shivers down his spine. She walked to the bed, gave another weird smile, and lay down stiffly. Knowing things were terribly wrong, he locked her in and went to consult the old village master.
Dạ thưa thầy, con có chuyện bị nhập tràng có thật không?
Cậu muốn hỏi trường hợp người chết sống lại.
Dạ phải.
The master explained that a woman once practiced corpse borrowing to revive her dead son. However, right after the spell succeeded, villagers caught and killed the son. They then sealed the woman's soul in a wooden sculpture and buried it on the mountain. Hearing this, Chang asked how to identify this phenomenon.
Đang trú ngụ trong thân xác của ngạ rơi, linh miêu, quỷ cầu. Chúng trực chờ những người mới chết, nhảy vào chiếm xác và sống lại. Tụ quỷ nhập tràng là thường đi nhón gót chân, thích ăn thịt sống và cơ thể toát ra mùi hôi thối. Tất cả những xác động vật sau khi bị chúng ăn.
Chang was still unsure until he saw her holding their son on tiptoes. A chill rushed to his head. Combined with her recent strange behavior, he had to accept the grim reality. His wife was truly dead, and her body possessed by an evil spirit. That night, he dreamt she was eating their child. Waking up, he found both missing. Realizing the danger, he went outside and saw the wooden sculpture missing from the coffin. The spirit possessing Zhang was that woman, probably taking the child to complete the resurrection ritual. As expected, she had gone to the old graveyard and dug up her son's ashes.
Chờ mẹ một chút nữa thôi. Cần tới giờ lên, mẹ con mình sẽ được đoàn tụ. Sẽ được gặp lại con.
She jumped out of the pit and began a ritual. Soon, Chang arrived, demanding she stop and asking how his family had offended her. She coldly replied they hadn't. It was just that their destinies aligned perfectly for her purpose. Then she continued the spell. Chang rushed to stop her but was thrown aside. Desperate to save his son, he fought back despite heavy injuries, but was no match for her. Fortunately, the master arrived just in time to save him. The master had sensed the disturbance when the seal was broken. However, he too was quickly defeated. With him out of the way, Chang resumed her search for the child. Back home, Chang had set up a crossbow. As soon as she appeared, he shot her in the head. To his shock, she simply pulled the arrow out, completely unaffected. Terrified, he hid, knowing her target was the child, having set up 2 bear traps in the room. Sure enough, she fell for the trap and was firmly caught. He seized the chance to completely bind her with a hunting net. Then, he tied her to a pile of firewood, intending to burn her. The possessed Zhang still tried to plead for mercy, but Chang showed no hesitation. He could never forgive the entity that ruined his family. As the fire ignited, the evil spirit turned to ash. The film ends here. That's today's story. I'm Zhao Ying. See you next time.